Greetings and salutations, this is the glorious Imperator Vespasian and his totally awesome trusty sidekick.
No more. More about me.
You're amazing, wonderful, have funny hair, strange. Anyway,
Hello.
this is the continuation of our series on the Soviet Army, and this is the Polikarpov I-16. When the Second World War began, good old Uncle Joe Stalin, or Grandpa Joe Stalin, whatever you want to call him, went to his armaments minister and said, why don't we have any good people designing aircraft? And he pointed out that Stalin had had the man who designed most of the Soviet Union's best aircraft put in prison. Yeah, so Stalin then executed the person who put him in prison, who Stalin had told to put him in prison, and then took him out of prison and put him in charge of the armaments industry again, which is a good thing. Yeah. Unfortunately, Polikarpov as a person isn't as interesting as Mr. MiG, the guy who made the MiG, or the guy who the Yakovich, the Yak fighter, Yakov, I can't pronounce his name, Yakov or something. There's a very interesting story about a bread factory, which I will go into when we do some MiGs and some Yaks. But that's all besides the point, because this is about the Polikarpov guy.
We'll have a complete air battle.
Yeah, Polikarpov was the people who made the plane were very interesting people. Nowhere near the story isn't as interesting as the guy who invented the MiG, but who cares?
It's not just mental.
Yeah, the story behind the MiG is very interesting, which I'm going to go into when we do the MiGs. So, yeah, it is an interesting story. Sorry, I spent all this time telling you how interesting the MiGs are, and instead of talking about
pretty
the
much,
yeah. Alright, the Polikarpov was the standard fighter of the Soviet Union. I've said this before, we've done videos about this sort of stuff before, and I did cover this aircraft in the Chinese version, so I'll just go into the Russian stuff. So, this aircraft was the standard fighter of the Soviet Union. When it came out, it was the fastest fighter in the world, overtaken by other fighters since. So, by the time the Second World War started, this was the most numerous aircraft, more or less, in the world. There were a lot of these guys around. Downside to these aircraft is they tended to go into a spin when you try to do anything like manoeuvre them, and also they're useless at ground attack because the wings are so far forward, or the wings lead so far forward, or the pilot is so far back that you can't see what's below you. So not that good at ground attack, but they were pretty tough and sturdy fighters. Unfortunately, because of their propensity to roll, when you tried to do any form of manoeuvring, the tailplane was too small for the plane, or too close to the wings. The inexperienced pilots would most often crash the plane. So they would, especially by the time of Barbarossa, you had inexperienced pilots taking off in these things and crashing into the end of the runway. It was very unfortunate. There was also one aerodrome which was positioned so far the German border. It had 60 of these stationed at it, and all 60 planes were shot down by German anti-aircraft guns set up at the end of the runway. Because the runway...
That's close to work.
Yeah, they were that close, the Russians were that close to the German border, the runway was literally over the end of the German border. The Germans just put an anti-aircraft gun at the end of the field and shot every single plane down as it took off. So, it didn't work out for them too well. But this aircraft could hold its own against most aircraft the Germans had. It carried two 20mm cannons, which, unlike the British cannons at the time, worked. They carried a high explosive round, which would do serious damage to a German aircraft if it hit, although there tended to be a vibration due to the way the cowling was designed, that the engine used to vibrate the gun. So quite often the cannon shells would go astray, but if you could get close enough to a German plane for it to hit, you would take the German plane down if you hit it. You only needed one hit to take down a German fighter, two hits to take down a German bomber. So pretty effective. Unfortunately, they lost some of their best pilots early on in the war. So they were reduced to terrain attacks, which I explained in the PL-15 video. the I-15 video, terrain attacks where the Russians would fly their plane directly into a German aircraft. I went into more detail in the other video, but it wasn't technically a suicide attack, it wasn't a kamikaze attack, because a lot of pilots survived. It was a pretty robust aircraft, and you only had to clip the German plane. It would ruin your aircraft, but it's worth taking down a German bomber if all you're doing is trashing a Polikarpov, because they're replaceable and they're not that good at aircraft against the Germans. So in game terms, they can carry rockets, which I explained in the video about the I-16. I won't go into that again. They typically carry 2 500-pound bombs. Now these are pretty good bombs. HE-2D6, Pin D3, very good bombs. Unfortunately, the plane is not the best delivery system to use those bombs, so they would be used en masse. Typically, 40 of these planes would fly over one target and they would all release the bombs, so one of them would hit. That's basically how the Russians operated. They weren't into precise hitting, really. Same as the later Stormovik. The Stormovik would fire rockets, 8 rockets per Stormovik. Some Stormoviks would fire 16. And they would stack in a row of 40 aircraft, and the first aircraft would fire, the second aircraft would fire, the third aircraft would fire, all one after another in the same trajectory. So you'd be hitting one target with 300 rockets, that's how they kill things. That's the best way of doing it. So in bolt action, you're not going to have 300 aircraft firing rockets, so it's just not going to happen. Gun-wise, it's got 2 20mm cannon, which is good, and it's got 2 machine guns, which is equally as good. So yeah, it's not a bad aircraft. Not a bad aircraft at all. Don't put you back too many points either. Air Combat 4D, not bad. Armour 6, because it's got a little bit of armour on it, so it's classed as actual armoured vehicle, so that's not bad. So classed as a soft skin vehicle rather than being a string bag. So yeah, it's not a bad aircraft, it's quite good. The pilot had a little bit of armour, which was nice. Early war Soviet pilots tended not to have armour, but the Russians did start armouring the planes, which was a good thing. Whereas the Japanese went through the entire war with hardly any armour at all. Whereas the Germans used to cover themselves in armour. So, just take your pick. Over to you.
What, tactics?
Well, tactics and questions.
Well, and questions, but tactics.
Your tactics, okay, go on.
Well, my tactic for these is, like I said last time, cat. I would sometimes actually send them after an enemy aircraft if it's already there.
Yeah, I would agree with you with that.
Because they're the best fighter planes I've got, which is why I will use the Polikarpov I-15 for a strafe. But
Yeah.
It's not a fighter plane, really, is it?
No.
It's a ground attack.
So you are right. The best way to use a fighter plane is as a fighter. You need cap. If your enemy's going to buy planes, you need to stop those planes from doing bad things to your soldiers on the ground, because a plane can do a lot of damage.
As we saw against the Chinese with my plane, and it nearly destroyed the building.
Yeah.
And the HQ was destroyed.
Yeah. You really need to have combat air patrol if you're going to be playing. Combat air patrol is probably the most important thing a plane's going to be used for. Once you've got cap, then by all means get a ground attack aircraft.
Yeah.
But you must protect your ground attack aircraft by having at least one fighter to protect it, which is what you need your cap plane for. So get a fighter if you're going to get a ground attack aircraft. That's the best.
So are you saying me then?
Yeah, totally. That's what I've learned from playing
Russians.
I actually think that there's not much difference in playing Russians and Chinese, because they use the same aircraft.
Well, there is. I have more than what you have.
Well, yeah, you have way more than I have.
Mine are cheaper.
Yeah, you have a lot more than I have, and so I have to think about the longevity of my armies.
That's how I feel sorry for the Japanese, because they're all veteran, but they all cost a punch.
Yeah.
One by one, they all cost a huge amount of money.
Yeah, the Japanese army is rather expensive because everything is veteran and
But
everything.
they never, ever run away. Even there's only one man left.
Yeah, you got fanatics. You got fanatics special rule. What else have they got in the army book?
They're always veterans.
Something death before dishonor special rule they use.
They do bonsai.
Yeah, you got bonsai charge as well. Yeah. The Japanese have a lot of benefits, but the Russians get a free unit, just like the Polish and the Chinese. They all get free units, so that's a free infantry squad. 19-man infantry squad for the Polish, 11-man infantry squad for the Russians.
The only thing you got bad there is that that spare units are not even trained at all.
No, they're green. They're green.
All
yeah.
Old.
So
basically, they've just got put in down.
But if you make a good roll, a green unit can become a regular unit, or is it a
Has that ever happened?
No. But it could happen theoretically.
One day.
Roll a 6, it'll be fine. Even though they use Terran attacks, I will allow Terran attacks during the game if you really feel like you need to do it. All you have to do is pass initiative to do it, so you can do it. On the downside, pass morale, sorry. On the downside, sometimes it may be a waste of an aircraft. Because you don't want to waste your aircraft. If you're Russian and you've got two, you can afford to buy two identical planes, then by all means use one as a ram attack, because then you're not wasting it really. You're just taking out your enemy aircraft and then using your own aircraft to rule the skies. So, but if you've only got one aircraft, it seems like a very dangerous thing to deliberately lose your aircraft just for the sake of trying to take out one of the enemy's aircraft. It seems silly, but that's probably just my way of thinking. No?
Yeah.
You agree?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is that everything?
Yeah, we've done tactics, we've done history behind it.
Yeah, there's not really much else I can say that I don't want to repeat myself.
Just did the I-15.
Yeah, well, not just that, I did a lot of the stuff in the I-15, but I have also done a video on this aircraft before where I went into a lot more detail. So go and look at that video if you want that. This is just to bring it up to date with the army that we've got at the moment. So yeah, we'll keep it running like that. And that's it. Over to you for your talky bit.
So if you enjoyed this video, again, I messed up. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and comment down below what you think of the Polikarpov I-16, and if you think mine and Imperator's way of using the tactic for the Polikarpovs are good. But if not, where your tactic is, because I'm very interested to know what you use yours as.
Yeah.
That's everything from me.
And everything from him. Good day.
See ya.